Morning, everybody. Welcome to another live session here for August 2nd, 2018. Just talking about the markets here quick today. Not going to make this very long. I want to do a real quick analysis, see where we're at here going into this non-farm event tomorrow, and talk about the cable a little bit and a couple other pairs that I was checking out, and we'll get you on your day in a fairly quick hurry here. So anyway, U.S. dollar had a nice rundown earlier into the week, and I was kind of hoping it would have swept in through these lows down here, and it kind of did a nice push down on Tuesday, creating the low of the week, and has springboarded off of it and traded higher into today. And notice where it's coming in and sitting. Basically hadn't had a chance to come in get much higher than than about the middle range of this last up close candle right here. So this was that big push, when was that, a week and a half ago, where it took out the highs here, came up, and so far is rejected off of this candle here. So going into non-farm, it could really do anything. I mean, they could want to slam this market back up above the 59.50 level and come back in here and take out this high. But get that level on there. And just continue right on up here, or fluctuate it up, reject, turtle soup, and then drop and run lower. There's a lot of levels underneath the market here that they're leaving wide open. You can see under here, they've left these equal lows under here. They didn't run down. They only ran an interim low in here once briefly, and since then they haven't come back down. So, fairly bullish. I mean, it's in my opinion, there's a lot of talk about the dollar dropping lower and everything else, and so far we just haven't seen anything. And it's the middle of the summer, it's consolidation time anyway, naturally. We got another 30 days here before 30 or 40 days here before big money really starts coming back online. So we'll probably just see this thing chop sideways. It might run the highs, it might run the lows, and just take stops on either side before it either continues up or continues down. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Just some simple projections. If we get another equal swing above this market, it could take us right up into this range in here. So I mean, there's lots of areas for price to come in and move higher, and I'd like to see a retracement lower personally. I'd like to see this thing come back down. And sweep out these lows here, and even come down if it has enough strength and get below these lows here. There's definitely a couple of ranges in this big push up here that it could come back down, rebalance price in my opinion. I think that'd be nice to see, but a lot of talk obviously on the the U.S. front with everything they're doing. They're trying to prop up the dollar, keep it strong. They keep raising interest rates. I think they've got another 1 or 2 planned for later in the year. I think they've held off for the interim, but so far, like I say, it's been consolidating and been a real great choppy market to trade in. But price slammed up in here today. I was hoping for a push lower and this to get taken out here today. We didn't get that though, or this week here we didn't get that, unfortunately. Continuation down. So just trading right in between this range right here. So I'll actually just see this right here. We're trading pretty much right between that low and this high right in here. Sorry, I got a couple of other things on the chart here. I'll just clean this up a little bit for you guys. Really hasn't had a chance, except for last week's high to run, to break out of this range right here. This is pretty much between 94.80 and 93.80, so about 100 pip range. Price has been sort of smack dab trading in the middle of, and we haven't seen that quit yet. So guys, just give me 1 second here. I'm just gonna gotta run and do something real quick. 30 seconds. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. So yeah, like I say, I was kind of hoping we would have seen this thing push down a bit. We didn't. Rejected, created the low on Tuesday, and now we've slammed up here today. So going into non-farm tomorrow, it's going to be interesting to see what we're going to get. I personally think we'll probably see them try to rip this high up here. At the end of the day, if I could get this price level come out, I can't. At the end of the day, we'll probably end up seeing price come in here. So I'm just going to take the middle of a range here and just sort of project out and make a suggestion that I'll drop down to an hourly here. And I'll grab a line. Maybe on the mid-range of this guy right here. Okay, and back out to the daily, zoom in here a bit. So, straighten this line up. Whoops. So what I'm thinking here, just kind of off the top of my head, if price comes in and see this range that we've created right in here, sort of this consolidation range. This is about the middle of that range, this down range right in here. So we've come up in here, we've rejected so far in today. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw price tomorrow fluctuate and use this level here. If upside is where they're wanting to push this thing naturally, and you can see here, you know, we've created a lower low, a low down here, a higher low, another higher low. If they want to keep protecting these higher lows in here like they have been going forward, they're not going to come down here and sweep these lows tomorrow. But if they do want to push this thing down to take a few stops on the downside, 94.30, in my opinion, would be a level where price shouldn't want to retreat to if they are going to keep this thing bullish. So I'll be watching that tomorrow during non-farm, but I'm kind of thinking something sort of like this. If we get a rejection off of this today, price trades down into tomorrow, wicks down here, and then we get something like this that could potentially happen. Or vice versa, maybe it tries to take out the highs first and then it comes down. But either way, I don't think they're going to go get much lower than this 94.30 level on the daily. So, and then projecting it higher. And the only reason I'm thinking this thing's going to continue higher is just the complete unwillingness to come back down under the market here, where there's obvious stops that are resting, you know, here, of course, here, and in here, and then obviously now, right, this week here, it easily on Wednesday, or sorry, on Tuesday, Monday's candle, Tuesday came jammed down, just took the low underneath this the daily open here, and then rejected it. They left that wide open. They could have easily come down, cleaned up some liquidity in there. They didn't bother. They just ripped it higher, and so I'm kind of feeling that you know, up is sort of the way that this is probably going to end up going here. Again, ultimately, maybe by September, maybe it'll finally roll over and take those. But I think for the rest of the month anyway, here they're not really going to do any stop running underneath price under here. Maybe under here later on in the month or under here, but I think they're going to probably leave these levels under here for much later. So that's my thoughts on the U.S. dollar. Going to rip over. We had a bunch of news come out today on the cable. I didn't trade today. I did my last trade, I think, on Wednesday, London Open, and I got an Aussie trade that I got in last week that I let run for a while. And that was about all the trading that I had done for the week. So you can see all of the cable news that had come out here at 7 a.m. New York time. So that was just about just a couple hours ago here. Retail sales had just come out. Those numbers have just been announced. I'm sorry, that's Aussie. Unemployment came out here about an hour ago, and that's pretty much it for about the major news impacts for the day. As I was saying, we'll have some Aussie news later on. into Thursday here, but then all the fireworks get happening again at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow with non-farm and average hourly earnings, trade balance for Canadian dollar, unemployment rates for U.S. dollar, ISM manufacturing at 10 a.m. So should be a little bit of action tomorrow. I'll be honest with you personally, non-farm lately has been fairly lackluster in my opinion, and it used to see some pretty big fluctuation levels. I don't think we're going to get a ton tomorrow. Again, it's summer, you know, maybe they'll use it to manipulate price quite a bit, but I would kind of expect a run down into here, and maybe not even this deep. Like if we go into the hourly on the U.S. dollar, you know, this low under here would probably get taken out today, and it'll probably just start to slowly run down, and I would probably expect some form of support to happen anywhere from this red line up to even the highs of those candles right in there, kind of on the downside of things at the very lowest, and then they'll probably want to make another spike higher. But like I say, I'm not expecting a whole ton tomorrow. But I'm not trading it either, just because they are unpredictable. And so I'll just rip into the cable quickly here. As you can see, price came down. I was sort of calling for the 130.50 level to hold off. The bodies of the candles didn't really do much to trade lower than that. Price stabbed down to 130.15, but so far the bodies of the candles, they really hovered right around that 130.50 level and hadn't really want to retrace more than that. And again, that just kind of coincides with that whole run higher on the US dollar. We saw a nice, obviously, trade higher the past 3 days on US dollar, and the cable's been sinking, obviously, in unison with the US dollar quite nicely as well too. So that's pretty much what we're getting there. This range has been fulfilled. I wouldn't expect any further downside personally on the cable. If 130.15, well, not quite, I'd say if more like this level right in around here at 129, you know, we call it 129.90. If that level there gets taken out and broken to the downside, then we'll probably see price wanting to push a little bit lower, but I think that's pretty much about it. They came down, stabbed price through here, took out these lows from way before, back in 2017, and so far, I'll just zoom in a little bit here. So far, I think this candle is probably going to reject on the day, and we won't close lower than here. I think this 130.50 will hold price off here pretty good, and we'll probably see this thing start to trade higher. That's just my personal opinion. They could certainly roll this over. There is some more cable news coming in tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. There's a service PMI number news event that could maybe spike this thing down one more time. But I think that we've probably seen the downside on the week, on this week anyway. See, they came in here today, and I mean, they stabbed in, created a low, pushed back up, and then they created an artificial level of support in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 consecutive candles daily, and these are daily candles. Keep in mind up here, these are the daily candles. They just had no willingness to come in and take those out, and then they stabbed it down here nicely today. I think they're just doing this today to run all the stops on the sell side. I'm sorry, on the sell side, for everyone in here who is thinking that I'm going to get long and I'm going to jam my stop in underneath these lows here, and they just came in and swept all of those today, and I bet you they'll probably finish the week off running this. We may not get back up into here into tomorrow, but I definitely think that this is the low of the week, and they'll probably come in and want to take price higher from here on out. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at. You know, and you look at a trend line like this and you say, well, are you crazy? I mean, look how much this thing's been dropping. And I agree. You know, if you're a trend line trader that trends off of these theories, I agree. You'd probably be looking for this low to get run. However, my thoughts are on it. They ran all of these lows under here. They took those stops. They've already come down, And what have they left above the market here? They've only done one big stop run right in here, and of any significance. And ever since then, they've just kept price dropping. And so they're building up a whole bunch of liquidity above the market right here, right here. They took the liquidity here, and of course right up in here, and then ultimately the big one, there's a ton of liquidity right in there. But I think that if we go into the fall months here of the rest of the year, I think we'll probably see price start to trade back up and take out a lot of these levels. Whether or not they want to get put enough strength behind it and start to run these highs in here, that's another matter. But for now, short term, I'll be looking at these highs to get ran. But my thoughts on this personally, I think that's probably going to be the low of the week for cable. They came in, filled in a nice inefficient range in here, beautifully actually, and I think that's it for cable. So anyway, regardless, I'm not trading today. No matter what this thing did, if this wanted to keep stabbing down or do an about face and run up 1,000 pips from here, I'm not doing any trades today or tomorrow. I'm done trading for the week. I got all my trading in Monday, Tuesday earlier, and I'm done for that. So the other levels I wanted to look at, same type of idea on the euro. This one just came down and fell in sympathy with the cable as U.S. dollar was pushing up into here. Cable, of course, making these lows in here, but really just chopping sideways. Same idea as the dollar. It's really been stuck in that same range. And however, this one has been showing a little bit more strength. So, and I mentioned this before, as the U.S. dollar came in here, created a high, took that high out, took this high out, and then took out the next high, or sorry, the previous high. So all of these areas in here have all been ran on the upside. The Euro USD, it only had one stop run right here under these lows here, and ever since it has failed to do any stop runs of any significance. There's one quick retracement back down here to take out these interim lows down here, but that's it. And even today, you know, the cable came in and swept all of these big lows in here. Euro USD, it really only took out one interim low from last Friday, and that was really about it. So probably going to be done on the downside. If you're a trend line trader, you could look at this as well too. See how price just lining up under these lows here, and right off that trend line, and it's bounced every time, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. But look at up here. Look at this beautiful area right up here. I'm just going to borrow this. Ultimately, I think we're going to go up to here. I was actually hoping last week that we would have saw a push up into here. Didn't get it. Not even close. Did not break above these highs at all. And look what they're setting up here. This is beautiful. I mean, they are going to come back up here and ram price above here. I promise you, if you're short up here, don't have your stop sitting here. Just as an FYI, if you are short on the Euro USD currently, I don't care where you're at, but if your level and your stop is sitting at 117.50, you are going to get tagged. I would bet $1 million on that. They are going to run price. They came down here. They've rejected. And whether it happens tomorrow through non-farm or into next week, they're going to run this thing higher, and they're going to take all of these highs up in here, and they're going to run all of these stops for everyone going short. That's my personal opinion. If I wasn't so dead set against trading a day or two before non-farm, I'd take a long in here personally, and I'd hold that thing, and I'd be targeting right up here. Beautiful range, 150, 170 pips above, depending on how high they want to run it. My initial theory would be I would just be kind of getting long, and my targets would be right above these guys right here. Look how they're pricing that in. Just a beautiful area of stops sitting there. Came down and ran the interim lows here. They've rejected, and almost perfectly. I called this 116.20 level. I think on Tuesday I was looking at that level, of last week. Price held off once, twice. Yeah, we got a little bit of a rundown in here. But again, look at the confluence of price. Price stab down, and I'm going to put a price tag on this one here. So 115, call it 116 big figure, just to kind of keep numbers round. Oops. Price came down, hit that 11600 level here, came down, hit it here, came down, traded right into it here, came down, traded up to it here, 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 and in here. So that 11600 level is a very, very obviously important level algorithm standpoint. Algorithm-wise, they're really trading into that quite a bit, and they've been up to that level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a whole bunch of times in here, 7, 8, 9. Well, I'll tell you what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 11 times in the past couple of months they've traded and off of that level, that 11600 level. So very, very significant level. It came down, traded into it today, and have rejected. And again, I think that's going to be the low. I think that's probably all they're going to take it. If that 11600 level gets ran lower, you can expect them to come all the way back down under here and start running these lows out. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that's probably it for the week. Same idea as the pound dollar. So what I would be looking for going into next week, personally, is wherever they finish this off today and tomorrow, I don't know. More than likely, what they're going to do, if you take a range from the week's high to the week low, more than likely Friday they'll come in and they'll probably fluctuate price a little bit, but they'll probably end up somewhere in right around here, finishing off on Friday. Again, whether they fluctuate, maybe take the stops above here or something like that, but they'll probably finish off right around the 25% level of the full weekly move. They'll give back and they'll sell off, and all these guys will be taking all their profits in here, and they'll probably run price back up into about this level here. So that would be about the 116.50 to 116.40 level is probably where they'll finish off the week here. But what I'm driving at here by saying that is, so if they do that, they come in up here and then come back down here and do whatever for Friday. What I'd be looking for them to do is come back down on Monday and recapitalize some of the levels off of here Monday and Tuesday of next week, and then I'll be looking for this as a potential trade and getting in somewhere down in this neighborhood here, around the 116, 30, 116.25, depending on how low they want to run it. But that's kind of where I'd be looking at potentially getting in on some longs, just depending on where they finish the week and everything else and how they build it up. But that's kind of what I'd be looking at doing. And then my target for next week is going to be right above here. I mean, there's just so much confluence up at this level here. I think they'd be crazy not to take these levels up here. So, but again, just keep in mind, with that being said, on the euro, I mean, right, look what it's been doing. We've been consolidating. It's been chopping sideways. We're in the summer months, so there's a lot of reasons for them to just, keep price right in the same range for the next 30 days. So don't expect it to happen 100%, lock trade or anything like that. But that's just kind of an idea that I'd be looking at doing. So anyway, that was pretty much the three majors I wanted to discuss. Oh, by the way, so speaking of the same level, same relative idea on cable, actually did a good job of coming up and taking prices out and taking some liquidity out here before they ran the price down. But there is one level right above these stops right here. Right above these equal highs right here. I believe cable will probably, if we do see a run on the Euro USD higher into next week, I definitely think the 132.30 level could be a target for cable to get run into. So that would be, from current levels, that'd be right, same type of range, about 170, 180 pips away. That'd be a great target for next week. And I would expect them to kind of do the same type of thing. So again, we take the range of the week from high to the low. They finish off the range, I'll bet you probably somewhere in here on the week. Again, whether they bring it all the way up and then come back down or do whatever they do, I'll be looking for next week. So if they finish here, I'll be looking for next week to start coming down, creating the lows of the week, and then potentially, doing this. So that's what I'll be looking out for on cable, if we can get that. Nothing really to talk about here on Euro GBP. They're just chopping this thing sideways so they can manipulate both the pound and pound and euro. Wanted to talk about US CAD. Look at US CAD. Very interesting. US dollar is pushing up. US CAD isn't really doing that, is it? Right? US CAD's been pushing down, created the low of the week so far yesterday. So just very, very interesting price action on US CAD in relation to US dollar. I'm going to keep watching that and formulate some opinions going into this week and into next week on what I think the US CAD is going to do. But if price pushes up, US dollar has been going sideways, the US CAD's been dropping. And so if this 130.20 level doesn't hold up here and we start to see price really push down, so far it's already broken that trend line just slightly. But if that happens and they come in here and just run price, see this 139.45 level, there's a small little area in here at about 131.00. We'll call it 131.05, I guess you could call it. If I can get that level come up. If price trades up to there and doesn't see any willingness to continue higher, I'm going to get all over some shorts on the Canadian dollar. And they could just be manipulating it while they're jamming this thing sideways. They could be manipulating US CAD and wanting to seek lower prices, because you can see the US CAD is the same type of idea. They haven't done any stop runs whatsoever. They finally just did one here under this interim low here, but look at all of the liquidity under the markets here. They haven't come down and done a stop run. Even this big retracement here failed to get under this guy here. So lots of areas under here where they can pull price down to. So they could be doing that for the next month while they're chopping US dollar sideways. They could be making a run on these stops on US CAD. So I'm going to kind of keep an eye on that. And one of the catalysts I'm going to use, if they want to run price up here into next week at 131.05 and we start to see some rejection there, I might be getting into some shorts. So anyway, that's just my quick thoughts on US CAD. I'll do another little more analysis on that going forward. Crude oil, like I said, as price was really slowly chopping up through here, I thought that was a false rally higher. And so far we've traded lower. Just today came down, took out these short-term lows in here. And so far we've rejected. So depending on the speed and ferocity of this push higher, will tell me how interested they are in getting this thing higher prices. See these lows, these two equal lows in here? I think that could be an area where they may want to run price. So they just came down, just grabbed, pull that off there. You can see here they just ran those lows under those two lows right here. Just did that today, and now they're pushing higher. So I said this area right here, and you can go back to my analysis from last week. As they were running price up through here, I said that they're just chopping this thing and really not wanting to show any conviction whatsoever about running price higher to the upside. And they just banged off of these lows in here in this small consolidation area level here and dropped price right from Monday. This was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is probably the low of the week that they just put in right here. I would expect them to trade this thing higher. I'll be honest with you. I'm looking up here. I'm looking right up here. I think this is where they're going to run price next. They came in and swept those lows here. So what they're probably going to end up doing is something like this, run it to here. And when price gets to here, I would expect this to offer some level of resistance, and I'd kind of be looking for this to happen. Whether or not they want to come down and run those lows, I'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But for sure, this area I think in here is going to offer a big area of resistance on the upside. And I don't know. Crude oil, I think they could be making if we don't see price take out this low that I just took out today, going into next week, then we could see it run higher. But I'm not, I don't know. Crude oil has kind of been an interesting one for me lately. I called this move in here and I called this down move here. But from here, I don't know. I think, like I say, short term, like going into next week, this level here will definitely get taken. That's my 69.50. I think they'll run that to the upside. I think we'll see that for sure. But where it wants to go from there, I think 69.50 will offer some resistance for sure. Now, but if they want to sink this back down, there's a small level of price under the market here at 66.30, 66.25 to 66.30. They're in around there, and it's only a few pips lower than what we've got here. About 70 pips lower, 60 pips lower, give or take, than here, and that would just basically sweep this entire range right here. They could want to run back down for those levels, maybe not quite 66.25. I like 66.30 a bit better. Small range of inefficiency down there, a lot of area support down here. You can see right here the market structure. They came up, false rally higher, just to drop the market back down. They swept the lows here. This is a bottoming pattern right here, where they do this, boom, boom, swept the lows, and then they jack price higher. That is a bottoming pattern. So I wouldn't expect them, honestly, to get lower than that. I think 64, you know, they ran a little bit lower than 64 here, but I think 64 is the low of the month that we're going to get there, and that came in June, June's lows. I don't think they're going to go any lower than that. I really don't. Even though they've come in here and they've been stacking price and stacking price and stacking price, I kind of, you know, looking at this world globally, and a lot of producers are saying right around that 60, mid 60 level, that's kind of where they like price being. They don't want to see it go any lower, don't really want to see it go any higher. So we're probably not going to make any chance, there's not going to be any chance of them running price down there, I don't think, anyway, in the next, you know, 4 months at least anyway. I think, if anything, they're going to try and run this thing higher. So going into next week, I think this is what I'm going to look for. I don't think they're going to get to it today or anything like that. They'll probably, they've come in, they've grabbed these stops, and they'll probably just kind of taper this thing off. We might get a bit of a run tomorrow, but I'll be looking at this happening for next week. So same type of idea, and that's about a 200 pip run up in there. So that'd be a nice trade on oil for next week when we get that, and I'll be watching for that. So that's about it. I've been on now for actually about 40 minutes, about 20 minutes longer than I wanted to be. Not a whole lot more I want to talk about. I took a trade on Aussie in here last week, and nice run up here. I think it was about a 60 pip run on that one. I was sitting there waiting on that one, and then price kind of fell off on that one, so I got out of that trade. Not much to talk about on Aussie, other than that, if you guys are an Aussie trader, other than that, it swept these lows here and grabbed all this liquidity, and didn't have any willingness to come lower. So I think it'll be the same type of idea next week on Aussie as we had on Euro and cable. So, and then lastly, copper. I didn't take a long on copper, and the reason why I didn't take a long, I almost did. I almost took a long on copper. Right in here, see how price came down. They jammed price down. Here, let me do this. They kind of did this. So that they had this big move down here. They came down, created a low, short-term rally right in here, and then created another low, and then they rallied off of the market and rallied higher than this interim low, or these interim highs in here. That is a bottoming pattern. Now, again, what I do is I wait for price to come back down and see what the willingness is to get lower than the highs of the consolidation level. And see right in here, they did it. They faked everybody out. They came down once right here, rejected. Came down a second time, rejected, put a higher candle in. And I actually, I wasn't in front of the charts. And to be honest with you, I probably would have taken that trade. I mean, 10 times out of 10, I would have taken that trade. They came down once, twice, and had been exploding off of that. And I just wasn't in front of the charts when they were doing this. So that's why I didn't get a trade off. But then they came down yesterday and smashed price down, and then smashed it one more time. They may not run these lows here. And to be honest with you, I would have got an entry right about these candle highs here is where I would have put my entry in. So somewhere right in around here, 120, or sorry, what am I saying, 120? 240, or sorry, 274 I would have got in. Somewhere right around there, but I would have put my stop under these lows here. Just kind of right, maybe not quite right under them, maybe about 75% down into these wicks here. So call it right around here, I guess. I probably would have put a stop. So very manageable risk, nothing too serious. I'd so far with today's price action, I wouldn't be happy with that. I would probably be closing that trade. So to be honest with you, I got faked out by this a little bit. Looks like they want to come down one more time. Whether or not they get under these lows here will tell me if this was just a fake out and then they're just going to start ripping this thing higher. So I'm going to keep watching this copper trade here, that copper trade idea. I'm still bullish on this. I still think that there's a lot of factors that will want to see this thing run higher. However, just doing some research on this thing over the weekend, copper, there's a lot of analysts right now that are sitting here talking about how copper is going to turn bullish here right away because it's the main base manufacturing metal. And, you know, as manufacturing picks up across the globe, then copper just starts to skyrocket. There's been a lot of new mines open up, a bunch of acquisitions for copper mines. Australia actually is a huge miner. And a bunch of Australian firms came into Brazil actually, and were taking out copper mines out there. So a lot of very, very smart people are thinking that copper is going to see much higher prices. And I think that with all these trade wars that are going on right now, there's a little bit of indecision with the tariffs. And so it's going to put a hamper on manufacturing, especially in China. The U.S. still, yes, they're starting to come to some deals here with the European Union, and they're starting to talk with China again and open up those discussions. It's great news on that front, but we may not see the bounce. What I'm driving at here is we may not see this thing turn to the upside quite yet. We may get maybe another month or so of this in here before they do it. But if you look at the commercials on copper, I mean, it's pretty incredible. They are really buying, switching their positions from a net short position to a net long one. And I'll just show you here the bias on copper on the large institutional traders and commercial hedgers. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just loading up a chart to my left. And if you guys have been with me for any length of time, you'll have seen this as well too. Oh, that's weird. My default chart didn't come up. I just got to put a quick study on. Give me 1 second. Oh no, it's there. Where is it? That's weird. I'm just on. Sorry guys. I'm talking about this, thinking you can see my other screen here. So this is copper here. Obviously, price came down, created a very into a very significant level of support. And I've got a COT study on here, and for whatever reason, I don't know why it's not. That's odd. I'll just try. If this doesn't work, I won't do this any longer. But if this doesn't work, I won't force the issue. See if that does anything. No? That's weird. What if I eject the chart? Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. I don't know why. I don't know why that's not coming up. Okay, I'll do one last thing here. Try this one more time, then I'll do it the other way. And if this doesn't work, I won't do this again. But I'll just talk about some other stuff here. No, it's not showing up. Okay. Well, anyway, I'll let you look at that on your own. But the COT data has the all of the big institutional traders switching all of their positions from a net short, getting out of here. They're buying up copper. It's a huge buy program. The most they've seen in the past 6 months to a year. So tons of big money is betting that this is going to be going higher, and so I'm going to be betting the same thing here. But I want to see what's going to happen. Obviously, they didn't want to quite create the expand off of this like I had hoped. And to be honest with you, I think with price not click futures at the top. It's Dave. It's defaulted on my charts. I'll try it again here. It's defaulted on my charts, but it should have just come right up. It shouldn't have done that for some reason. But maybe if I just load in a new, completely new. I've had that window open for a while, so maybe I'll just try to do something real quick here. Sorry, guys. I got a note from somebody watching, and they were suggesting I try something a little bit different to try and get that COT data on there. So if you bear with me for 1 second, I can try it. Dave, I appreciate that. Go to September contract, trading September, full chart. Sorry guys, sorry, I know this is being 1 second here just to kind of get this figured out, and then I'll get you on your way here. High grade copper. Yeah, that's what I was doing, Dave, but it didn't still not showing up for some reason. Yeah, it's not working. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll get that data on there, and then I'll have that for another session. But going forward, we may just see this thing consolidate for the next little while until the U.S. gets that trade war and tariff stuff figured out here. We could just see price chop into this range just for a little while. And you can actually see, I mean, this, you know, look at the chop in here, and we endured that for, you know, better part of a year until it finally broke out of this range. So we could see a little bit of chop going forward. You know, it's to be expected, no big deal. Seasonally speaking as well too, the charts has copper starting to make push higher. Going into the third and fourth quarter of the year here as well too, so we could see some movement on copper. So I'm going to be watching for that. But anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to really talk about. I mentioned this too. If you guys are crypto traders, you can see the difference. Bitcoin made the pop just to run these areas here, and they're trading softer. I'm expecting them to come lower. I don't think they're done trading this thing lower. I think this is just a false move higher to grab stops to get more people involved in the market, and I think they're going to sink it. And mainly the only reason is because none of the other major cryptos, Ethereum and Ripple and Litecoin, have made any significant rally like that at all. So I think we're going to see lower prices on crypto. So for all you hopeful would-be crypto traders out there, just be careful, because there could be another storm coming and to the downside, and I think they're going to be pulling price down there very soon. So that's about all I got, guys. I hope this pans out kind of this way here this week on Euro and cable. You got my ideas going into next week. I'm definitely not trading. I hope you guys aren't trading either going into non-farms. There, you know, I mean, you're gambling. It's really, that's all it is. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I used to trade non-farm back in my early days when I was just getting into the currency markets. I thought, wow, look at the volatility, and look at how much you can potentially make on these days. And to be honest with you, like I say, non-farm for the past, I'd say, 3 months or so has been pretty lackluster. So I'm not expecting a black swan event or anything to happen. It'll probably just be, like you look at the past 3 months history of non-farms, they've been, maybe 50, 60 pip moves. Maybe you'll get an 80 pip move, price fluctuation. Still enough to knock you out of the market and take you off, one side or the other. So that's why I don't trade them. But, I mean, from experience purposes, and that's about it. So anyway, there's not a whole lot else. I'll probably be watching price. Dave will be back on tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. when the commodities open. He'll be trading gold and S&P, and you can watch for those. I don't know how much action he'll be taking because it is summer and it is the end of the week and it is non-farm. So just keep that in mind. If you are looking for a potential trade setup, he may just kind of give you something. Well, that's a nice little level there. Wow. Dave might be talking about this tomorrow. But there could be some opportunity there on S&P going into next week. So, but I'll leave that to him. He'll be on 9:30 a.m. for equities open tomorrow, and then I'll be back again next week. I will, just so to let you guys know, I'm heading on vacation actually next week. So I'm going to be gone, what is it, from the 13th? Well, the 14th, I'm sorry, the 14th. So I'll be back for London Open next week. I'll be around for that for next Tuesday, and then I'm gone for the next 10 days or so. I will have internet access, which is the good thing, but I'm literally out of cell phone communication range and everything, so I'm shutting everything down. But I'm definitely, I can't stay away from the market, so I'd like to do a live session, and I may do a couple of commentaries here and there, post some charts. We'll see how things go. I'm on vacation, so I'm not going to push it. I'll send out some notes via Telegram and Twitter as to kind of the activity. If I see something on the chart that pops out at me, I might jump on, do a quick live session. But I'm not going to be pushing anything. So if I do a live session, I'm for sure going to do next Tuesday London Open. I'll give you some setups for next week, and then I'll be back the following week. Next on the. I'm sorry, I said I'm leaving the 13th. I'm leaving the 7th, and I'll be doing a live session the 7th, and then I'll be back the week of the 13th, probably like the 15th, just depending. I don't really have a date that I'm coming back for sure yet. I'm kind of leaving it open. I will be back for sure next week, but or the following week, but like I say, I won't be doing a ton, so I'll keep you updated, let you know how that goes, and we'll get back at you then. And but I'll be back for the week of the 20th, the 27th to finish out August, of course, and then the fun starts into September. So we'll be getting after that. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. Again, take it easy this week. Don't get crazy on non-farm. Or anything like that. You guys know the story, and hope you have a great rest of your week. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch up to you next Tuesday via London Open for myself, and Dave will be in tomorrow, and you can catch that live session. So, hope you have a great day. We'll catch up to you then.